Hello, winter. Hi everybody, Mike from FisherMN here. As you can see in Minnesota, winter is here. We got our first really big snow of the season last night, and we're just kind of digging out today, and that open water season is for sure gone right now. My kayak's put away and my thoughts are going to ice fishing. But what I thought I'd do before I went to that ice fishing place is I thought I would show you some of my best catches of the year. Now, in order to do that, I think you need to see that they weren't all giants. So not only are you going to see my biggest catches of the year, I kept track of all my smallest catches of the year. Enjoy the video. Anybody can catch a giant, but this is the smallest northern of the year. As you can see, that was a tiny northern pike, but I really did have some good times fishing for northerns this summer. Some were by accident and some were on purpose. I even did a half-an-hour live fishing for northerns where I caught 4 pretty nice ones on a lake in central Minnesota. Here's some highlights of my northern fishing. All right, I saved the biggest one for last. This big northern came while I was bass fishing actually, and it was on a buzzbait. On that buzzbait, I had a fluorocarbon leader, so I guess I can say I was ready for a northern. I didn't get a very accurate measurement of that fish. It was in the low 30-inch range. I'm counting 30 inches as pretty good northerns this summer, but I'm always aspiring to catch a 40-incher. That's a true trophy. There we go. If we got them hooked well, I think we got our 18. What in the world? Oh, switch that. We got our 30 if we can get them in. Oh my goodness, there we go. That is a big northern, man. Whew. The tail is hanging way over, so I'm saying 32 maybe? 33? There we go. Big fish on the buzzbait. Anyone can catch a giant, but this is the smallest sunfish of the year. Well, all the panfish I caught were that small this summer. In fact, I had a couple of lakes where I was catching some giants. I always start out the season with my buddy Chad, and we're up in Grand Rapids. We managed some really nice ones there. As I worked my way south from Grand Rapids, I also found some monster sunfish in a couple of local lakes. Here's what those looked like. All right, my giant sunfish of the year, was just under 10 inches. I've always aspired to catch a 10-inch sunfish, but this one was about a 1/4 inch short of that. It was a monster, and what a great fish to catch. And of course, it went back in the water.
There we go. Go. God. Look at that guy. Wow.
Got myself a gigantic sunfish. Let's measure it. Look at that, it is touching 9 3/4 inches. Wow. What a beautiful fish. That is a nice sunfish. Biggest one I've probably ever caught, 9 3/4 inches. These are the kind that go back. I caught a lot of big crappies this year. In Minnesota, I consider a big crappie in that 11 to 14 inch range. And not only did I beat that this summer, but I also caught my biggest crappie I've ever caught in my life. Here's what some of the smaller ones look like. This big crappie that I caught came on my usual setup. I've done so many videos talking about the yellow, and this crappie was no exception. No minnow needed, just an artificial bait, and I pulled in this 15-inch crappie, which just amazed me that I could catch a crappie that big. Panfish expert Chad and I will be fishing this lake in the winter. Hopefully you'll see a couple more of these. But if we don't get any that big, I'm so happy I got this one on video, and I'm so happy I was able to let it go for somebody else to catch. Another state record panfish. Oh my goodness. That can't be a crappie, can it? That is a giant crappie. Oh my gosh. Look at that crappie. Oh. Oh my goodness. Look at that fish. 15-inch crappie. I've never caught a crappie that big. 15 inches. Oh my goodness. Get a good picture. I just don't feel like I can put it on the stringer. I think this guy needs to go back. What an amazing fish. Just another great fish. I was gonna say in summer 2021, but it's fall now. And we're getting some of the big guys. All right, let's let this guy go. Anyone can catch a giant smallmouth bass, but this is the smallest smallie of the year. Well, that was a tiny smallmouth bass, and if it was last year's video of all my highlights, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'd have a long enough video to get all the smallmouth in. I caught so many smallmouth bass in 2020. The river was just about right to be fishing for them. This year, I'm actually standing at the Rum River filming this, and it is so low, and that's how it was this summer. I did not get on the river hardly at all, just a few times, and actually, my biggest smallmouth of the year came from a lake. So with these highlights, I'm gonna bunch them all together because I sure didn't have many. I caught one decent smallmouth on the Rum River this year, and then I caught my monster on a whopper plopper, which was a goal of mine. I know a lot of you fish whopper ploppers. I've never had great luck with them, but finally I had a day where I caught a monster on a whopper plopper. Here's what all that looked like. Fish on. There we go. It's a better guy. How about that? Guess what? We got ourselves a smallmouth. Nice. Smallmouth bass on the whopper plopper. That is a bonus fish today for sure. All right, let's see what we got for the length. We are 19 and a half. That is a giant smallmouth. Waiting all summer for big smallie. Finally got one. Let's get him back. Anybody can catch a monster, but this is the smallest largemouth of the year. That largemouth was tiny, and I did catch quite a few big ones this summer. I wasn't able to get exactly where I wanted to fish all summer, but boy, it sure worked out. I think sometimes when you have to go back to a lake a few times, you really learn it, and then you can fine tune and find those bigger fish that you're looking for. Some of my biggest largemouth bass of the year came all the way up in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. A lot of them were in central Minnesota, and some were pretty close to home. Here's what some of those big largemouth bass looked like this summer. Here's my biggest largemouth bass this summer. Now I say that as a kayak guy, and I'm gonna go by length. This monster was 21 and a half inches long. As you can see with the fish before it, there was a lot of fatter fish in that group. If this one that I caught was fat, it probably would have been about 6.5 pounds. I didn't get a chance to weigh it. I think my batteries weren't working, but 21 and a half inches is a really big bass for Minnesota. If I were to ask you at the end of last year, what do you think I caught it on? You probably would have said a frog. This big guy came on a whopper plopper, and actually it was the same day I caught my biggest smallmouth of the year too. So what a great day that was. Here's what catching that monster looked like. There we go. fish on. It's a good one. Big bass. Wow. Look at that bass. All right. Whopper, plopper. T-bone that whopper, plopper. Oh, wow. Look at that. Not super chunky, but look at the head on that thing. Wow. I bet that one's over 20 inches. Mouth open, 21.5 inches long. Wow. There it is. Longest fish of the summer. Wow. Well, there it is. My smallest and my biggest fish in open water summer 2021. I'd love to hear about some of your biggest fish from the summer in the comments. And as we always do, I'm looking forward to 2022 open water season. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you on the next one.